Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 124. You're here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, we have Anthony Ta.
Good evening.
And that is it, the two-man crew once again. So let's go ahead and start off with the news. Deus Ex,
yes.
Yeah, Deus Ex Mankind Divided was revealed. And this is what's tricked a lot of people up. Okay, so the game was announced on the PlayStation blog. And it's titled Deus Ex Mankind Divided revealed for PS4. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, the new Deus Ex is exclusive to PlayStation 4. That's not the case. It's coming also on Xbox One. It's just Sony they decided to make the announcement on the PlayStation blog for whatever reason. Usually what Sony does is they announce these games on their behalf, or Sony didn't announce it. The executive game director of Eidos Montreal announced it, but on the PlayStation blog, similar to how Batman was announced at the Sony press conference, usually they do these kinds of things when they have exclusive DLC, or with Batman, they're going to have the exclusive DLC and content, but also they have the bundle. That's when they typically do these things. Microsoft also does the same. Usually when Microsoft shows a multi-platform game at E3, such as Call of Duty, usually it's because they get exclusive content and they're promoting the multi-platform titles. So it's called Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Takes place in the year 2029, 2 years after the events of Human Revolution and the infamous AUG incident in Panchea, which ended the golden era of human augmentation. Now, I am not a big fan of Deus Ex, to be honest, but I watched the announcement trailer and wow. The game has never interested me until now. It looks so good. Like, incredibly good. I encourage everyone to go check it out. It looks very, very enticing.
Is it going to be good enough that it needs a PC version, Nick? See, you're gonna ask that, aren't you? You're gonna just say, well, it looks good, but what if it was on PC? But it is coming to PC. Ooh, how good is it going to PC? Does it support DirectX 12? But rather than go down that dark path again, like we did last week, I haven't watched the trailer yet, but there's a new Deus Ex. I'm actually pretty excited about this because I played Human Revolution on the PS3. I actually liked it. I sucked at the game, but I really liked the story. I really liked the stealth combat. The game was pretty good. The stealthing was actually kind of a challenge, even though I tried to play it on the easiest difficulty because, well, it actually does what I feel is a good idea in stealth game, which is you don't really have a gazillion bullets, so you actually need to stealth around in order to make it through. There's probably a couple boss fights that were absolutely ridiculous, but there were like a couple boss fights that were like absolutely ridiculous, but I really liked it. I think the setting's pretty awesome. Yeah, human augmentation, that was like a huge thing. That was like a huge point in the story. And even at the end, it's like, well, you're now presented with like 3 or 4 different options on how you want the world to see human augmentation. And who knows, maybe, I don't know if they're going to take that into effect for the new game, but considering it happens 20 years after, what you said, 20 years after?
Sorry, it took in the year 2029, which is... 1 second. I moved away from the tab. 2 years after the events of Human Revolution.
Oh, 2 years. So there. Oh, yeah. That's very recent, actually. That's very recent. So I really like the soundtrack. I really like the setting, and it was just kind of like one of those medium-sized games. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it AAA because it didn't exactly have the AAA marketing behind it. It was just kind of like one of those smaller games that was made, and it was kind of like a sequel to the original Deus Ex that was made in the late 90s or early 2000s, I think. And yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was just one of the smaller games that I really want to support. Now that there's a new one, it's like, yes. And music. I keep talking about the music, but the music's freaking awesome. Love the main theme of that.
Yeah, the fact that this game was announced on the PlayStation blog, I would not be surprised with E3 being just 2 months away. And at this point, God, I feel like we were just at E3, man. It's freaking 2 months away. I feel like we were just freaking at E3 last year. Oh my gosh, time just moves way too fast. But pretty much guarantee that this probably, I mean, because the trailer does not show gameplay. So when I say it looks really cool, I mean visually, yeah, but it's CG, so of course it's going to look really good. But just the concept of it's really action-packed. Actually got me pretty interested. But I'm pretty sure we'll probably see the debut of gameplay at E3, and then I'm sure Sony will have like an extra like storyline or something for the PlayStation 4 or something like that.
I'm looking forward to it. I am really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I actually do find it a little funny how PlayStation likes to play with its words to make themselves think that a game is more special in the end. Yeah, you remember Destiny, right? The best Destiny experience is only exclusive to PlayStation 4. It didn't, to make it sound somehow you think it...
Microsoft nailed it. Microsoft really started it. And then Sony just like, this is working really well for Microsoft. We should do it too.
The best experience is only on PlayStation 4, was what they said. And I feel like just like Deus Ex revealed for PlayStation 4, oh wow, it's exclusive. Actually, if you check the English, it didn't say anything about being exclusive. It just says the game is coming to PlayStation 4. It didn't say it was only coming to PlayStation 4. Granted, they can also say...
Sony knows what they were doing, though. Sony knows what they were doing.
Yeah, because the internet doesn't like to stop and think about the wording. Emotion says it's only on PS4. Like the internet likes to have a knee-jerk reaction to a lot of things. So, okay, Sony. I mean, I don't really approve the idea, but hey, in this world of marketing and trying to make yourself look better than your competition, yeah, all right, fine, whatever.
Right. So there's been no information as far as dates, not even a year, so we don't know if it's coming out this year, if it's coming out next year. But my guess or speculation would be that we'll hear more about it at E3. We'll probably see gameplay, and then maybe they'll announce November or early 2016, or who knows. So,
well, Deus Ex is not. I feel like it might be a 2016 release. Because Deus Ex does not feel like that kind of game that they have to get out by the holiday season. Because when I think about it, does this game have enough power to compete against the biggest games coming out this holiday season? And unless the release schedule is dry this year, which I don't think it is, it probably...
Well, whatchamacallit was delayed. Quantum Break was delayed to 2016. Uncharted's not coming out till 2016.
Yeah, it depends the way they put it in 2016 also, but I just kind of feel like, like Deus Ex isn't exactly a mega name in gaming. It's kind of more like a medium-sized title is how I like to put it. Right. So it's like, for the fans, it's freaking awesome. For a lot of other people, it's an interesting curiosity that they may or may not try out one day. Like for me, I bought Deus Ex out of curiosity. I bought it like I think I bought it for $20. I forgot where I bought it, but I bought this game like maybe a year and a half or 2 years after it already came out, and it just happens to be in the bargain bin, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna try this out, and I ended up really liking it. So. And I think the new Deus Ex would be the same thing. It's like a medium-sized title. Fans would be stoked. For everyone else, it is, you know what? Maybe this game is worth a shot. And I think everyone should give it a shot because I like it.
Yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Like I said, I'm sure we will hear more come E3. Only makes sense. Next news story. This is a good one. I know Bronson would be a big fan of this one. Ooh. Zynga CEO Don Mattrick has officially departed as CEO of Zynga as of today, April 8th, for those listening. So we're recording on Wednesday, April 8th. Don Mattrick is no longer the CEO of Zynga. Mark Pincus, who is the founder of Zynga and chairman, will return to the role of chief executive officer.
Wow, okay.
Let the speculation begin. What happened?
Well, considering that Don Mattrick pretty much created or marketed what would have been the most unpopular game system ever.
Right, but he seemed like the perfect guy for Zynga, though, because Zynga's known for their nickel and dime mobile games, and that just seems like the type of thing that Don Mattrick would be all over.
If Don Mattrick seemed like the perfect guy for Zynga because Zynga's an evil company and you have an evil guy be CEO of an evil company, okay. But even then, it was like Zynga. I don't know. Like Zynga hasn't I mean, they made Farmville, and everyone on Facebook jumped onto Farmville, and then all the enthusiast gamers thinks it's like the Blight or something like that. That's spreading among the land of casuals, and it's our job to defend the enthusiast realm from this plague that's infested on Facebook. Was kind of the gist of how I got out of Farmville and whatever variation of Farmville came out. What happened at Zynga? I don't know. Like, when Don
I'm wondering if he got let go or if he's moving on to another company. Part of me is saying they probably got rid of him because the fact that the founder is like, yeah, I'm taking my job back, that probably means that he wasn't happy with what Don Mattrick was doing.
I mean, I have suspicions that maybe Don Mattrick was, quote unquote, politely asked to resign because, well, let's be honest here, he was offered a job at Zynga, and I don't think any other company would offer a job after the way consumers rebelled against Xbox during about 2 years ago, I would say. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, that was interesting. And the way he basically responded to questions kind of insulted the average person's intelligence even. And yeah. I don't know what happened though. Maybe it's because as CEO, Zynga hasn't exactly rebounded in any way whatsoever, because there was a point when Zynga was like, we are champions of, Facebook gaming, Farmville. You can't stop Farmville, and then it died really hard. Which I kind of saw coming, because it's like, yeah, when you have a mega hit all of a sudden, they tend to die really hard, and Farmville did die really hard. And I don't know anybody who plays it now. It's Candy Crush, but I don't know if Candy Crush is gonna like crash off the cliff.
Yeah, that's from King.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just read a little bit more here. Interesting. Okay. This is a good one. Over the next 2 years, Zynga will pay $4 million to Mattrick as part of his severance package, according to a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Additionally, Zynga will also pay Mattrick his bonus for the days he worked in 2015, which will probably amount to around $1 million. On top of that, Zynga will immediately vest a little over 5.1 million shares that are worth around $10 million total. That brings the grand total to somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 million for Mattrick. Mattrick's statement on this? I am excited about the company's trajectory and wish the best for Mark, Zynga, and Natural Motion as I plan to return to Canada to pursue my next challenge.
Why did I feel like he's saying that very enthusiastically just because he's getting $15 million for getting fired?
Shit.
I mean,
anyone offers me $15 million to resign from a company, go right ahead.
Yeah, like I'm just like, well, if you're offering this kind of like, like if you have a choice between staying with a company and being continuously hated for poor performance because you're CEO and didn't do a very great job in turning things around, or taking $50 million to walk out the door, that's a very easy decision. I mean, granted, like, what was it, like 10 million was like in shares, so it wasn't exactly actual money going into your banking account, but there were shares that you could probably sell down the line if they're still worth anything. Yeah, yeah, that's wow. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, huge surprise there. $15 million. I mean, heck, you give me $15 million, I'll resign from your company too.
Well, yeah. Here's $15 million to.
Here's $15 million to pretty much leave the company and not have to stress about anything you've messed up.
Look, we hate you so much that we're paying you to get out of here. Please, we don't want to deal with you anymore. Like, they must be, like, freaking, like, from my viewpoint, it's like, man, they must really, really hate him and want him to desperately go away to just say, here's 15 million, now go away. Go away, now, out the door. Look, what, 10 million wasn't good enough? Fine, here's 15. Get out. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that the reason why they had to do that was there was some contract somewhere, because it happens with athletes too. Like, you sign, like, say, big athlete gets $100 million over 8 years with 50 million guaranteed. That 50 million guaranteed, it happens even if the athlete for some reason, you know, gets an injury or is it injury? I don't know. Like, even if they got traded, or even if they got dropped in, or they got, you know, if the contract is broken, whatever, it's still guaranteed money. Like, I imagine that's how Don Mattrick got like 15 million. Is that maybe he wasn't really there as long as the contract says he should. So, severance package.
It's one hell of a severance package.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like everyone is probably like sitting around. Everyone who's unemployed probably sits around. It's like, where's my severance package? It's crazy, the land of executives.
Getting paid $4 million over the next 2 years as a severance.
As a severance, do you really need to go to work for 2 years?
Well, to live the lifestyle he does, probably. He's the type of guy who flew into work every day in a helicopter.
Yeah, so he probably does need to find a new job, because I highly doubt $8 million is going to sustain your helicoptering lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, really? You didn't think a car was going to work? Like, what are you afraid of? You think someone's going to mob your car down the street because they all hated the fact that you think that they all hated the fact that he must think he was going to get mobbed in the streets, especially after, say, after announcing the Xbox One and what it was going to do, or at least the initial concept of it. It's like, holy shit, what the hell? Guy's really bizarre in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the dude that went out and said all the biggest blockbusters can be found on Xbox One, which, okay, yeah, marketing slogan, makes sense, okay. But I didn't really think Don Mattrick was that bad until the Xbox One. It was just like that one system pretty much all of a sudden was like, wait, what? What's going on here? Because before that, it was Kinect. Like, okay, the Kinect presentation at E3 2011. Yeah, that was probably the most garbage thing. That was probably the most garbage thing ever, and it's actually funny to watch, if painful. But at the same time, I was like, Skittles, you know what? They have to market
Skittles.
Yeah, but at the same time, at the back of my head, there's like, you know what? There's a little bit of business sense going here. They're not completely crazy. Yeah, they
they sold a shit ton of Kinects.
Yeah, freaking that thing broke. That thing actually beat the iPhone 4 in units sold in first 3 months of release. Like, the first 3 months of the Kinect actually beat the first 3 months of iPhone 4, which was quite shocking. And we all know how the iPhones are like one of the most famous tech gadgets in the world. But at the back of the head, like, the Kinect made some business sense, and they weren't completely bonkers because they needed something to try and get that Wii audience, because the Wii made so much money for a while. Like, okay, there's a little bit of method to the complete madness they were pitching. And it sold. Yeah, it definitely sold. And to be honest, the Kinect is a freaking awesome device, in my opinion. As a piece of technology, it is absolutely amazing how this thing can detect your skeleton, identify the major joints of your skeleton, in addition to having a distance monitor so it can actually identify how far away those joints are. So if I moved my hand back, if I moved my left hand back, but my right hand is moving forward, you could actually use the skeleton tracker and the depth sensor to identify how far away your left and right hands were, in addition to your head. And, it can track your skeleton as long as you weren't doing some pose that involved crossing limbs. And man, the original Kinect is an amazing piece of technology, and Kinect 2.0 is even more freaking awesome. And but I felt like they were marketing in the wrong direction. At least now they're aware that Kinect is good for dancing games and interfacing stuff so far. Which apparently they totally understood it to the point where they literally probably told the operating system, just screw up the interface so they have to use Kinect.
Yeah, forcing the Kinect on people like that was really dumb. Not coming out at $400, but coming out at $500 because you forced the Kinect was probably one of the dumbest things they could have done.
Yeah, I mean... Oh yeah, at the end of E3 2011, Don Mattrick is just like, so there's a new Xbox 360. Lifts up the plastic casing to reveal the one, and everyone in this room gets one for free. Yeah, feel the love. Give me the love. Give me the love. I don't know. I don't remember if he was actually smiling smugly, but but my image of him was I just have this image of him smiling smugly after that Kinect presentation, giving everyone a free Xbox, like a brand new Xbox 360 Slim, and just like feel the love. Yeah, see, I'm cool. All is okay because I just gave you guys all free Xboxes for watching that piece of garbage.
You peasants. That's what he was thinking, you peasants.
Yeah, he's going to be head of some Ultima gaming PC company and then really push the peasant agenda, except in this case, I'm a little concerned if he actually does do that, because Don Mattrick is a really interesting guy that is probably hated by a lot of people, but I imagine somehow if he founded a PC company to just smile smugly down on the poor peasants, he probably would have a very small following. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he said he's going to Canada, so what company will he be taking over in Canada? That'll be interesting.
I have no clue. If he's the CEO of BioWare, I'm just gonna start hurting myself.
That's him. Could you imagine if he takes over
That
BioWare?
is gonna be the worst thing ever. Like, freaking BioWare is nowhere near as good as it used to be. Okay, their games play a lot better now, but man, their writing talent has fallen quite a ways. But you know what? At least that studio can still do things decently. Okay, Dragon Age Inquisition, I think, is really overrated, but you know what? Okay. I still think it's actually good-ish, and you know what? There's actually some cool things about it. Okay? But man, Don Mattrick about that would be bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, BioWare's owned by EA. If he's gonna be a CEO of something, it's not like he's gonna get his way into EA or anything. So I don't need. So we don't need to worry about that. Man.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of corporate executives, I'm actually a little concerned about Sony, because Microsoft's on its way up. Phil Spencer seems like a cool dude. Like, I don't pay much attention to what happens at I don't pay attention at all what happens at Microsoft other than what I hear around here. And but from what I saw at E3 and and how things have been since Phil Spencer took over, he's a pretty chill dude. So far.
Phil Spencer's awesome.
He just went out there and he just unapologetically just said, yeah, thank you, Sony. Thank you, Nintendo. All right, guys. We'd like to thank all of our guys for being here, including our two major competitors. All right, 90 minutes of games. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. 90 minutes of games. Like, everyone was worried about, oh, Microsoft's going to talk about this. No, 90 minutes of games. Like, that's what we were there for, okay? convince me to buy an Xbox One. And what's the best way to convince me to buy an Xbox One? 90 minutes of games. And I walked out of that press conference a little high. Like, I walked out of that press conference a little too high because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they say that it seems like Dragon Age Inquisition is best enjoyed on Xbox One. And I literally said that on camera. And looking back at now, I'm like, yeah, that was something. But I walked out of that press conference feeling like I kind of want an Xbox One. So they did a pretty good job. And meanwhile, on the Sony end, I'm a little concerned because, no offense to the new head guy of Sony Computer Entertainment, but I just couldn't shake off this vibe that after Jack Tran and I see the new guy, I'm like, hello there, Mr. Corporate Suit. What's going to happen to PlayStation? The Sony press conference still tried to be that cool, we are with you, gamers. We are one of you. But after Jack Tretton left, it wasn't... To me, it didn't feel the same. It's like they were trying to hang on to it, but it was kind of slipping. And then they started talking a lot about powers and... What was the other stuff? It was like they were talking about other stuff that you weren't very happy about.
Well, they talked about powers. Powers took up a good 10-15 minutes, which was absolutely ridiculous. And then, what was the other... Powers was my main frustration. Powers freaking pissed me off something terrible. It's like, okay, this is a game console. You're pitching a freaking show that's being produced for your console. 10 to 15 minutes freaking long.
I actually... I remember that the guy loved to talk about Powers, which I understand that when you're really passionate about something you make, you want to keep talking about it because you want to pitch it and you're really passionate and you want to enjoy it.
Like, even Yoshida came out, like, a day or two after that and was like, yeah, we should have spent a lot less time.
What I remember vividly about Powers, when the guy talked about Powers, is that, so at the Microsoft and Sony conferences, the person looks like he's speaking to the audience, but at the same time, he's glancing at these giant video screens behind the audience. And they're like cue cards, except they roll along, so that way they don't lose track of what they're saying and gaff up. I remember I turned around to look at the board, and it said, "Thank you." And the guy proceeded to spend a good 2 or 3 minutes thanking everyone he could possibly think of for the creation of his show. And that to me kind of summed it up, because it's like, I understand you don't literally just say only thank you and leave. I know that you want to say more than just thank you, so that you reach out and make it meaningful. But man, he just kept going. That's what I remember about Powers. Then they talked about PlayStation Vita. It's like, we still got commitment to Vita. And I remember Bronson sitting there looking up at all the games that they had on all the game pictures they had, and he's like, I think he was literally pointing out those games and saying, already out on another system, oh, that's actually exclusive, already out on another system, that's he was pointing out, I can remember him just literally just pointing out games in order that they displayed it and pointing out why that wouldn't exactly sell a Vita. Either it existed somewhere, either it already came out on the Vita, or you can get it somewhere else. Or no one's heard of it. Their commitment to PlayStation Vita has never been stronger, says Mr. Corporate Suit. It's actually the 10th anniversary of the PlayStation Portable.
That
PlayStation
was actually
sold.
Pretty that was actually pretty successful.
I think I looked up the sales number. It was 80 million. That is,
the software didn't do too well at the end because of all the hacking, but
I know, but at least it had a chance.
Right.
The system had a chance. I mean, the
it
PSP
got off to a good start too.
It was off to,
even though there were so many things that were so dumb about that stupid thing.
I think it was.
Whoever thought of, let's come out with a portable platform and freaking have spinning discs?
Well, you think about it, flash memory was too expensive. Because it came out at a time when a 512 megabyte flash drive was actually worth a bit of money.
Oh
so
yeah, I remember.
that kind of made
remember
me
my
think
first,
maybe the
because it came with like a 32 gigabyte. I mean 32 gigabyte, 32 megabyte. Sorry, 32 megabyte stick. And I remember I bought a 512 megabyte stick, and I paid like $80. $80 for half a gigabyte.
It was one of like Sony's proprietary memory
Yeah,
stick
the UMD,
Dual Pro or something.
UMD, the Universal Media Disc, which it wasn't universal at all. And I think it supported up to 4 gigabytes, I think is what it supported up to.
Yeah,
and what really cracked me up is they really seriously were releasing movies on UMD and thought people would actually buy them. And they were charging like $20 for these damn things. It'd be something else if they're like $5, $7. These were $20, $30.
Yeah.
What the hell were they thinking?
So here's the thing. I actually understand some of the logic behind the UMD because flash memory was too expensive way back in the day. Like today, you could buy a 32 gigabyte SD card for your Nintendo 3DS and it would actually hold a huge amount of games. But back in the day, flash memory was expensive. So, and let's be honest here, you're talking about near PS2 quality games on a portable. Can you really fit that in 512 megabytes? Unless it's a small little game? No. And so they had to think of something, which made me think maybe the PSP was a little bit too ahead of its time in terms of tech. Because, you know, they tried to bring near PS2 quality games onto a portable system, but they don't have the storage to do so, so they had to resort to a disc. Which isn't a very durable disc from the looks of things. And in addition, that's another moving part inside your system, so if you drop your system... Oh no, you lost your CD drive. Oh, and you're carrying around discs, which don't snap easily whatsoever, right? Oh, and movies. Well, to be honest, I don't know how much portable DVD players costed at the time, but you're probably better off with a portable DVD player at the time. And you probably have a bigger screen to watch it on, too.
Yeah, it was interesting. Very, very interesting. But good old PSP.
At least it sold and it had a chance, and there were actually some interesting games on it. Like special games made specifically for that system. Like you got some God of War specific portables on it. It's not like with the Vita, where, oh, here's Final Fantasy X, which you can also get on PS3 and now PS4. No, back then, Ghost of Sparta was actually a PSP thing. And then Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, I think it was, existed on PSP and only PSP. So it actually had games going for it at the time. So, you know, it actually had... It's not like with the Vita now, where the Vita has become this giant expensive accessory to the PlayStation 4, and even then, it's like, what can you really do with it?
Right.
Ah, man. Vita, Latin for life. The irony.
That's the last thing it does have is life.
Yeah, freaking, like, the irony of that. Like, Vita is actually a pretty good name. Like, I like the name Vita for this system. It's just... Man, looking how it's actually doing, it's kind of a bit of an ironic name.
Absolutely, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they discontinue it this year or next year, because at this point, I think it might be a little too far gone.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, can you really convince Naughty Dog to make another game for it? No, they would rather do Uncharted 4.
Well, that wasn't even Naughty Dog. They had someone else do that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, yeah, parented and made sure it came out alright. Yeah, absolutely. No one's going to be developing any expensive games for that platform because they won't make their money back. They'll lose money on it.
You remember the Call of Duty thing we said? It was like, we need to sell this Vita. It needs a big pop culture thing. Call of Duty. And then they announced it. And
oh, wow. Yeah, that worked out great. It got like rated one of the worst video games of all time.
I just sat there and I'm like, it was as if they literally started development the day they announced it. So they only worked on it for like 5 months.
Yeah, they announced it, and all they did was show a freaking name that's Call of Duty. Well, I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, and it was like they literally went up to the studios and said, "Hey guys, the Call of Duty is coming out this November." There is. Oh, sorry. There's a Call of Duty on PlayStation Vita coming out this November. There is. Yeah, you guys are working on it. What?
Yeah.
That literally must be the conversation between head guy and wherever. Okay.
Yeah, quite bad. But moving along, while we're talking about, we brought up storage. So, over in Russia, so we all know that Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming out on PC, and people who will be buying it on PC will likely be downloading it from Steam, right? Well, over in Russia, they're going to have a retail version, as in you buy it and you actually get discs. Remember when you'd buy a PC game and you got the disc and you'd enter it and then you install it and then you enter the serial code that comes on a piece of paper in the box before the world of Steam and Origin and Uplay?
Yeah.
Well, check this out. So obviously they're going to be on DVDs because you can't put them on Blu-rays because you can't expect everyone to have a Blu-ray player in their PC. How many discs do you think it's on?
10?
No, not that much, but 7.
Oh, okay. 7.
Keep in mind, this is compressed, okay? So they're compressed, and then they extract it as they install from the disc. So yeah, if you want to install, if you want to go buy that retail version, you're going to have to go through 7 discs.
7 compressed discs, which means the install time is even longer because you gotta uncompress everything. That must be fun. 7 DVDs. Man, I remember those days. I remember those days when Steam didn't exist and your cable wasn't exactly, fast enough. And I remember those days. You bought your PC game at Best Buy. You come home, you take the disc out, and you find, oh, Star Wars Battlefront 2. That is 4 CDs. Like CDs. And 4 CDs. And I remember you had to put them into your CD drive and go through the setup process. Next. Yes, install to this folder path. Full installation. Please type in your CD key. Take out your CD key. Type it in. Hit next. Alright, it's installing. Please insert disc 2. Please insert disc 3 and disc 4. Oh, to play your game, you're required to put disc 4 in at all times. So what do people do? They find a no CD patch. So, yeah. Oh, man, I remember those days. Yeah, Flight Simulator 2004, that was on 4 CDs. World of Warcraft, they actually fit that in 1 disc. What they did was they compressed it so hard that the install took forever because it was very slowly reading off the reading off the DVD and having to uncompress at the same time. So it was moving pretty slow. That was and even then when you connected online, you still had to freaking sit there for about maybe, depending on your internet speed, you could be sitting there for an hour or 2 for everything to patch in, maybe 3 or 4 if things are slower or take forever. Yeah, I remember those days. You had to put discs in to make your games install, and back in those days, you didn't have online authentication either. Yeah, those days were cool. Physical copies.
Yeah.
The downside I realized over time is that these games, as time goes on, they get increasingly incompatible, which is kind of like the magic of Steam. Like, the magic of Steam says, hey, one of my friends wants to play Duke Nukem 3D again. But obviously, if you took the Duke Nukem 3D disc of the 90s and try to put it in Windows 7, it's probably not going to work at all. But through Steam, it works, and it supports an Xbox One controller. Or a PS4 controller. I don't know if it supports a PS4 controller, but you can actually support an Xbox One or Xbox 360 controller with that adapter into Duke Nukem 3D, and hey, you get to play a 1990s game in the modern age, and thanks to Steam and modern, optimizations to make sure it doesn't nuke itself, hey, you can play your old games again. That's the great thing, one of the great things about Steam, because I imagine if I tried and put Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed on my Windows 8.1 computer, it's not gonna work. Like I put SimCity 3000 on a Windows 7 computer, okay, it works still. But if I put it in 8.1, it doesn't work Because these days, modern tech can kind of wreck your old game and make it not work whatsoever.
Well, they at least have a longer life than console games, because backwards compatibility with consoles isn't even a thing anymore.
Yeah, but that's why you keep your old systems around. That's why I keep my old systems around, because it's like, there is no... I mean, I think about it, are they going to ever release Tetrasphere ever again? I mean, they probably did, they probably didn't, I need to check, but assuming that they didn't, the only way I'm going to ever experience Tetrasphere ever again is by keeping my old Nintendo 64 around.
No, with that logic, though, you could say just keep your old PC around.
Yes, and that's what I do. Like, that's what I do. I have a Windows XP PC that just sits in my closet for maybe the once or twice a month that I ever take it out to play, like, NASCAR Racing 2002 season, because, let's be honest here, the only way you can ever play NASCAR 2002 season is if you, like, find a copy via torrent, you torrent a copy, or you keep the old disc like I do. And honestly, that game came out, like, as you can imagine, by the year 2001, 2002. And the only way I can play it is freaking on an old Windows XP PC. And freaking, I am so stoked that the PS4 controller works so well that you just plug and go. Because I'm like, yeah, I get to enjoy the stupidity of driving NASCAR cars again. There's something about that game that I strangely like. And
the one thing I never understood about those NASCAR games is those games always looked freaking awful for their time. As far as graphics go, they always looked so bad.
It depends which one, because NASCAR Racing 2002 season was actually a full-out simulator. Like,
yeah, I did not play that one, but I'm talking about like the NASCARs that EA was doing like every year when they were doing.
Those were bad. Yeah. Yeah, those were pretty bad. This is actually the NASCAR game before EA took the license and made it exclusive, I think, because 2003 was the final year for Papyrus Games making that stuff. But in 2002, that thing was a full-out simulator, and it actually was really taxing on a PC, because when you have to run the AI of like 43 cars and all the smoke and crash physics and all the normal physics involved, man, it gets really taxing. So that game was... But yeah. Oh man, I miss those days. Discs. You put them in, your CD drive makes an obnoxious amount of noise that could rival an original 360. Yeah, those were the days. Then everything's and man, they installed faster than games download today. And oh man, old PC gaming day things. This is why Steam is kind of awesome today. Back in those old days, if you wanted to patch your game, you had to actually go online and find the patch yourself and install it. You had to download it and run the executable. Granted, there were some games that tried to patch themselves, but once those servers went down, you kind of still had to go out and find the server and go out on the internet, find the file yourself, and install it. You said Russia was like the one place that had a retail version of Grand Theft Auto 5 for PC?
Yep, they're going to be getting it on retail.
I wonder why they do that, because...
I wonder if their internet speeds aren't quite up the...
It could be that, it could be... I don't know if Steam is blocked or whatever. I don't know if whatever is blocked up there. I don't know if their download speeds are pretty slow, but... Yeah,
because I mean, you're talking about this game's probably going to be a good 60, 70 gigabyte download.
Yeah, and you have to have like some way to patch it too, because when you have a retail version, it doesn't exactly go through Steam or Uplay or Origin where they automatically update your game. They have to have some channel to send out updates in order to patch these games properly.
Okay, moving on to the next topic. CD Projekt Red, the team behind The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, has announced that there will be 2 expansions for The Witcher 3, and that they will provide the option to buy an expansion pass. One expansion is called Hearts of Stone, which will be released in October 2015. The other is Blood and Wine, which will release in Q1 of 2016. Hearthstone will take Geralt, which is the main character if you don't know, on an all-new 10-hour adventure into the wilds of No Man's Land in the nooks and alleys of Oxenfurt, where he'll try to complete a contract from the mysterious Man of Glass. Blood and Wine, a 20-hour tale, will introduce the all-new in-game region of Toussaint, which will take Geralt to a land untainted by war, where a bloody secret awaits. The upcoming expansions will offer gamers new adventures, gear, and foes, and will feature characters both new and dearly missed, all crafted with maximum attention to detail and quality by the joint forces of CG Projekt Red's Warsaw and Krakow Studios.
Yay, expansions for The Witcher before the game came out.
Yeah, the price of the expansion pass, which we'll get into this. The price of the expansion pass, which will include both expansions, is $24.99. Okay, here's my thing. I'm not a fan of expansions being announced before the game even releases. However, this one does not bother me too much. And I'll tell you why. The reason why it does not bother me too much is the fact that you can clearly tell that this is what they're going to be working on once the game releases. So yes, it's additional content, it's additional work. Makes sense. I mean, they're building an entirely 10-hour new story, which won't be released until October, and then 20 hours in Q1 of 2016. So, I mean, this is stuff that it's not like they're going to release The Witcher 3 and be like, yay, vacation. I mean, yeah, they might take like a week break, but it's not going to be like, oh, yay, let's just work on little patches, la-di-da-di-da. No, they're going to be working on these just like they were the entire game. So it completely makes sense to me. I'm completely fine with it. What bothers me is when people release a game and there's DLC like the same day or within a month of release, they have expansions. At that point, it's like, yeah, you could have really put that into the game if you wanted to, but you're doing this for additional money. So it doesn't bother me too much. Plus the pricing, I think, is very, very fair. $25 gets you 30 hours of additional gameplay. I think that's more than reasonable. So yeah, I will definitely be buying this on my PC probably day one. I'm very much looking forward to it, especially with my high-end PC. As I said last week, as long as Sony's new 4K TVs are out by then, I will be playing on my 4K TV. I probably won't be able to run it in 4K. I'll probably be running it in 2K just because of how taxing that game is looking. But I'll have two 980s in the machine. And then they said they're supposed to be patching for DX12, so maybe when they release that patch, maybe then I can run it in 4K. But until then, I've been enjoying The Witcher 2. Game looks surprisingly good for a game that came out that long ago. It came out like 4 or 5 years ago. But at the time, it was also a very taxing game. So it's just like The Witcher 3 in the year 2020, we'll still probably be able to look at The Witcher 3 and be like, man, that game looks really good. It still looks good for right now. But that's because The Witcher 3 is going to freaking eat your PC alive. So, yeah. But yeah, I did not play the first Witcher.
If you throw enough money at your PC, it'll survive.
Oh, yeah. If you throw in a few grand, you'll probably make it alive. Just probably.
Well, that's okay. That's why the low settings exist, right?
Yes.
As much as I kind of hate to admit it, because freaking, like, the problem with like PC games is that when you put it on low settings, it really, really looks like you put it on low settings.
Oh, yeah, they punish you pretty hard. They punish you pretty bad. So, I know I'm looking forward to it just because I'm ready to see how good it looks, but I've been enjoying The Witcher 2. So it'll be exciting to see and get to experience The Witcher 3. So, how about you, Anthony? Have you played any of The Witchers? Looking forward to The Witcher 3 at all?
It's been constantly suggested to me because, you know, like, You
gotta get the Steam sales, dude. I got The Witcher 2, forgot what they called it, but something edition, whatever the edition's called, whatever.
Some complete edition, right?
Yeah, I got it for $4 freaking on Steam, dude. $4.
The sales! You save so much money on sales!
You gotta you gotta download it next time they do a Steam sale, dude. It's $4. I mean, come on, $4. It's a freaking coffee. Something you drink and it's gone. Freaking 30 minutes later.
See,
this is a game that'll give you freaking plenty of entertainment.
See, this is how they get you. It's like, oh, it's only $4, and then you buy games that you never play. I mean, that's why even if a game is only available for like 50 cents, I still don't buy it, because it's just gonna sit around and you just wasted your money there anyways. Like, for example, I bought Skyrim on my PC and it was part of the Bethesda collection that was $33 off. Now, 33% off. Now, granted, I was kind of pissed because, well, Skyrim was half off about 2 days later. So that was a mistake, but I got it and I only played it for maybe 2 or 3 hours ever. Like, I played it seriously only 2 or 3 hours ever.
And how much did you pay for it?
It was part of the Bethesda collection, so it was like $60 for 3 games. It came with Skyrim. It came with Hunted Demon's Forge, which I never played because I read it was absolutely terrible. And I played Brink for like an hour, which, interesting concept of a shooter, that one.
Well, that's why you just buy games that you know you're going to play. Like, The Witcher 2, I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to The Witcher 3. $4, what the heck? And I've put in at least 10 hours into that game now. I mean, 10 hours, $4. I mean, where else are you going to get 10 hours of entertainment for $4? Nowhere. At least that I know of.
But The Witcher has been constantly been pitched to me as, oh, this seems like an Anthony type of game, because I used to be a pretty big fan of Western RPGs, being fans of games like Oblivion and Mass Effect 1 and 2 and Dragon Age and Dragon's Dogma, which is Western RPG kind of styled. So there's like, oh, The Witcher could seem like your type of game, but I never really got around to it because I never really looked into it.
Yeah, with how old that game is, I'm sure your machine will be able to run it just fine.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'll have no problem running it. Like, that game came out in, like, what, 2012, 2011?
Yeah, 2011, I think.
Yeah, like, my graphics card is from that era, too, except it was kind of a bit of a cheapo unit, so... who knows? Maybe I'll give it a try. I mean, it's only $4, and if I were to judge a game by $1 per hour, all I really need to do is play for only 4 hours to make it worth it. Only. And if I get hooked, well, great gaming deal. Because there are like $60 games that we have bought out there that haven't even lasted 8 hours and then just get put on the shelf for the rest of its life.
Yeah, for $4, I'd say as long as a game gives me at least like a good hour of fun, it's worth it.
An hour of fun versus only 30 minutes of food enjoyment. Think about it.
Yeah.
For the price, you can skip a meal, right? Skip a meal and you've already paid off your game. You already saved up enough money and maybe a bit more to pay off your game. Now you can take that $250 extra and buy another game.
Or next time you go out to eat, get a water instead of a Coke, because they know they charge you like $4 for their drink.
Yes, so take that $4 and buy a game that you think you will love and spend 20 hours with it instead of the 10-minute drink that you had and slurped away. Man, it puts things into perspective when you said, for this amount of money, you could have had this. For the price of a Coca-Cola to go with your, lunch at this restaurant, you could have had 3 games from Steam. You could have bought Bastion for $1. You could have gotten Dragon Age for PC for only $3. Why are you buying $60 games when that amount of money you can buy 10 older games? This kind of puts your stuff in perspective when you put out for this amount of money you could have had this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I highly recommend it, dude. Next time they do a Steam sale on it, they will. For $4, I'd definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to The Witcher 3, especially after playing The Witcher 2. The Witcher 2 is so freaking good, dude. Such an amazing game. And I'm usually not into RPGs, but it's freaking amazing. Yeah,
it looks pretty good, although I didn't really see much of the game. Except that one boss that you had, it was like that giant octopus boss
Oh,
thing.
that thing was pissing me off. So frustrating. I was
eventually got
really irritated. Yes, I eventually did, but I was just getting so irritated because what was happening is the first couple times I played, there's like 2 stages, so you have to like take his legs out, and then at the time I didn't know you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like run up the staircase, jump on his back, and then you can take him down. Well, first couple of times I had no problem taking his legs out, but I couldn't figure out what I needed to do, so I'd always get killed. And then once I figured out what I needed to do, thanks to one of the viewers on Twitch, I had a problem taking out his legs. It was like he knew that I figured them out. He's like, oh, hell no. And he completely, like, it was absolutely ridiculous. I was, like, dodging and rolling and jumping and doing everything I can. This dude could not miss me. But I eventually got it. That's the thing, like, The Witcher, like, I'm not big into RPGs, so, like, I'm not even ashamed to say it. Like, The Witcher, I'm playing it on easy just because I'm not very experienced with RPGs. And with The Witcher 3 kind of, like, right around the corner, it's only, like, a month and a half away. I just kind of want to burn through the game. I don't want to be struggling. With Witcher 3, I'll probably play on medium. But for Witcher 2, I'm just going to kind of like burn through it on easy. And even then, I don't even know if I'm going to beat it because the Witcher games are long. They're long games. So I just want to get my kind of hands on The Witcher, kind of figure out what it's all about for $4. And then when The Witcher 3 comes out, really dive into that. So... But yeah, highly recommend anyone who has a PC. Next time they do a Steam sale and they have that game for like $4, highly recommend it. It's a freaking awesome game. So.
Sweet.
Especially if you're looking forward to The Witcher 3, it'll be good to get your hands on the game before The Witcher 3 comes out. So
yeah,
cool.
This is one of the perks of. I mean, granted, you could actually apply this to console games too. It's that if you are willing to be patient and don't really need to buy that $60 purchase right out the door, if you wait about 6 months till like the next summer, you can save quite a lot of money on games. Like, for example, Dragon Age.
It won't go down to $4 unless the game is complete bust, but you might get it for half the price.
Yeah,
like I know not too long ago, Borderlands the pre-sequel, they had it for like $30 on PC.
Yeah, and like I was like, oh, I want to play Dragon Age Inquisition, but I'm not exactly too stoked about it, so I waited a little bit, and then it was on sale for $40. So I saved $20 right there, and that was good. Like, if you're patient, you can save a lot of money. Especially, like, on those really big games that they print out a gazillion copies for. They kind of have to, like, clear out inventory eventually, right? So, they drop in price pretty fast once the sales spike is over.
Right.
Yeah. You'll be amazed the types of games you can get for $20 or less. You just have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, that's the only thing. If you're buying games day one, you're not going to save much. You're not going to save much. It's the games you wait for, or those little, like, The Witcher 2, I wouldn't have paid a lot of money for it, but $4, hell, I bought it, and sure enough, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, about cheap games is they don't seem very risky. Like, for example, a $60 purchase of... let's use Destiny as a good example. The $60 purchase of Destiny. Everyone tells you it's great, but you're not really sure. You just want to try it. Well, at that point, your only options is to borrow it from a friend or rent it. So you're pretty much stuck with that. But like when you have like a really cheap game, like on a Steam sale, I always thought about trying, say, Audio Surf, and it's only like 50 cents or $1. Well, if I bought the game and played for 10 minutes and absolutely think it's garbage, I wouldn't feel so pissed about it because it's only $1. If I don't like it, it's only $1 that I lost. It's not the worst thing in the world. Versus if you bought a $60 game and it turns out really mediocre or you just don't like it, you're pissed because now you can't return it. The only thing you can do is sell it, and you don't even get that much back. So, you know, like, yay, inexpensive stuff. it's kind of like a lower kind of risk thing too.
Right. The one thing with the PC market that I'm really sure Steam hasn't utilized is rentals. There is no rental solution for PC. And it would be so simple. All you have to do is pay $10 and you have access to the game for a week. That's simple, because I know in Steam all the time they'll have this game's free for the weekend, so you download it, and at the end of the weekend it doesn't let you play it anymore unless you buy it. They should do the same. I mean, rentals wouldn't be that hard. I don't know why they don't do it.
Honestly, if they had some program that says, hey, you wanted to try Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth. Let's say that, I like Civ 5, but I'm not sure about Beyond Earth. Hey, you can try it for a week for $5, but if you purchase the game after after that week's try, we'll give you a discount for you to fully purchase the game.
Right, yeah, if you buy it, within a certain amount of time after your rental, we deduct the rental charge from the purchase or something like that.
Yeah, that would be great, because I'm I'm not sure about Beyond Earth, but you know what, I'll put in maybe $5 to try it for a week. Ooh, I think it's freaking awesome. Let me buy it.
Right.
That would be pretty nice. I think it's a little bit I forgot. I don't remember the store that did this. If you rent something long enough, you eventually own it, because you paid so much in renting that you basically have purchased the item with the amount that you've paid in rent.
Right.
Which that's kind of a little nice. Cool.
Hopefully we'll see something like that in the future. Who knows? Last news story I've got are the new PlayStation Now games. So every month Sony releases new games to PlayStation Now, which, if you forgot what PlayStation Now is, it is the streaming service where you can stream games to your Vita, your PlayStation 4, your PlayStation 3, etc. Or your Sony TVs, your new Sony TVs, you'll be able to stream it. So that's pretty cool. So this month, the games they're adding for the PlayStation 3 for you to stream on your PlayStation 4: Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Super Stardust HD, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, Hustle Kings, and Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. So some pretty solid games. I think right now PlayStation Now is only compatible on PlayStation 4. They don't support it yet on the PS3 and Vita. I know for sure it's not on the Vita. It might be on PS3. I'm not too sure. But there's definitely some good games on there. I mean, if you definitely want to go back and play all these PlayStation 3 games, I mean, PlayStation Now is definitely a good deal. I mean, the pricing is very reasonable. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it's... Gosh, what is it? I think it's $20 a month and then $40 or $45 for 3 months. Or am I wrong? I can't remember. It's something like that. But very reasonable if you're going to be playing those games. I mean, all I know is for 3 months, you get 3 months of unlimited games through PlayStation Now for less than the cost of one game. So, definitely a pretty good value, especially since there's a lot of good games in there. There's a lot of good games. I know they have Batman, they have the other Uncharted, they have God of War, they have The Last of Us. I mean, they have so many good games on there. They have the Infamous games, Killzone. So many good games. So, I definitely think what they're doing there is pretty good. Oh, also, totally forgot, but this is completely related. So, obviously, PlayStation Now is from Sony's purchase of Gaikai. Sony also bought OnLive just recently.
They did.
This past week they bought OnLive, which was a huge surprise to me because I expected Microsoft to buy OnLive. I expected Microsoft to buy OnLive to come up with something to compete with PlayStation Now. But no, Sony's acquired OnLive too. What they're going to be doing with that, who knows? But yeah, they've acquired the two main competitors in that market. They acquired Gaikai a few years ago for like $200-something million, and now they've acquired OnLive.
That is kind of surprising because it's like, oh, you've got Gaikai, so do you really need to purchase OnLive? Yeah. In the case of OnLive, it's like, I remember OnLive was like one of the first bigger news stories when it comes to game streaming. And at the time, yeah, there were reservations. Yeah, our internet speed's fast enough. What about latency? Because let's be honest here, you can't make the internet magically make your packets travel across the landline any faster, much like how you can't raise speed limits any better. And one of the problems I noticed with OnLive is that they always kind of struggled to make a library to even convince people to go use it. So, and after a while, it just kind of fell off the map on a lot of people's minds, and it stuck around though.
Yeah,
I thought
I can't remember when they're shutting them down, but they announced a certain date they're shutting it down because of this acquisition.
Yeah, because I thought it's like, you know what, with PlayStation acquiring Gaikai and PlayStation now being a thing, and Microsoft's probably going to try its own thing, OnLive probably won't have a future anymore. And in this case, yeah, they probably don't have a future anymore, but in a different way. They're now a part of Sony.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe like OnLive's been around for a few years now. So maybe that experience is going to come in handy when it comes to optimizing PlayStation Now and making cloud gaming more of a thing. As for the PlayStation Now, $20 a month, well, you don't have to pay it every month. You could just pay for 1 month access to all the games that you want, and when you're tired of it, you just stop your subscription. Done. There you go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they utilize this.
Yeah, it's like how I would say, hey, I'll just have Netflix for a month. Why? Because I just want to watch all the episodes of House of Cards and then just stop. Done.
Right. Cool. Anything else before we close it out? I know, or before we head into comments and questions?
Yes, Club Nintendo. We know it's closing this year, and the last day that you could redeem for any coins was the last day of March, just over a week ago. So, pretty much quickly after that, Nintendo has announced the free games that you could get if you have gold or platinum status. So for the gold members, you get a lot of virtual console kind of stuff and one other game. So the games that you can get if you are platinum or gold is Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3, WarioWare Incorporated, Super Mario Kart, The Lost Levels of Super Mario Brothers 2, Metroid Fusion, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, The Original Legend of Zelda, Advance Wars, This Mysterious Murasame Castle, Zelda Oracle of Seasons or Ages, Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, Super Mario Brothers 3, Pushmo, Freaky Forms Recreations Alive, and Crashmo. If you're Platinum, these games are only available to Platinum members. You can choose from Ultimate NES Remix, Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii U, Pushmo World, Punch Out on the Wii U, NES Remix 2, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Yoshi's New Island, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario Party Island Tour, Mario Kart 7, Mario Golf World Tour, or Animal Crossing on the 3DS. And you can only pick one of these games. So choose carefully.
Good options there.
And Mewtwo's gonna come eventually, and I think you have to redeem your coins by June, or else they're gone for good. So if you have enough coins, you can get yourself a Majora's Mask Messenger badge, you can get a Majora's Mask Jigsaw puzzle, you can get a poster set, calendars, 3DS game case. So redeem. Like, you've got until the end of June, I think, before Club Nintendo's gone for good. And their games are still around. Like, you can get some full-on games, too. Like, The Wonderful 101 is only 600 coins. Like, seriously, people, get The Wonderful 101. It's awesome. Yeah, so I actually was about 10 coins short from getting Platinum status, and what I had to do was grab a Wii game off my shelf and use the Club Nintendo for it. To get those last 10 coins. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
That's all I have right now. So
all right, let's head to the comments and questions.
Comments and questions, and we actually have comments and questions this week. First one's from Cray T. LOL, Nick, this is the exact reason why I stay out of PC gaming. It's never good enough, and you can always get better. Well, yeah, that's another reason to get into PC gaming. You can always do better. Instead of being held back. Right, Nick?
Yeah, it can also be a bad thing, though. Especially for your bank account.
Yeah, your bank cries. your piggy bank cries. Yeah, PC game is not cheap. Parts on it can get really expensive, but is it worth it? Depends what you're looking for. That's how I look at it. It's like, PC gaming's too expensive. Well, it really depends what you're looking for, because if you're on a really tight budget, a console may be a better option, but if you have a bit of money to take a bite on the initial cost and maybe miss out on some exclusives and, wait longer for your games, so instead of buying them day one, you buy them month 6. Yeah, PC gaming could be more inexpensive long term. It just takes a bit of planning. That's the way I look at it.
And discipline.
It takes some discipline too, yes. It takes some discipline, especially if you have a lot of money to spend on PC gaming, but it also takes a lot of planning, because let's be honest here, it isn't just you just dump a bunch of parts and think, oh, it's already a better value. No, you kind of have to plan things out, like what's a good value for you, what games you're interested, how often are you going to use it. If you're going to PC game a huge amount, then maybe it is worth it, but if you're only going to game on it casually like I do, maybe you probably don't need a $2,500, you probably don't need a $500 graphics card if you don't get PC game that much. It's a lot of planning. But it's probably worth it if you go through the whole step and you're willing to go forward PC gaming, so yeah. Thigh Ruler says, I really wish they did the Batman bundle with the Xbox One instead, because I already have a PS4.
Yeah, but we kind of knew when they announced Batman during the Sony conference that Sony was going to be working with Batman. I think Batman's always worked with Sony. I mean, the previous ones, they've had like additional content, so we're going to see additional content again, and now they have the bundle, so kind of knew at that point that, yeah, Sony is working with Rocksteady and Warner Brothers on this one.
Yeah. Like, in the case of Xbox, they had Assassin's Creed, which, maybe. I know they're going to have, Forza 6 bundle is going to happen for sure. I can just feel it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're gonna say, hey Anthony, would you like Forza 6 bundled with your Xbox One for only $300? And I'll be like, oh, and we'll throw in Forza Horizon 2 also. Okay, you sold me. Because I look at my 360 and whoops. My bad. Yeah, I look at my 360 and I thought, it's my Forza box. I had Gears 2 and I have Halo Anniversary. But it's basically just my Forza box. But it's well worth it, because I played Forza a lot. Car customization, so awesome. Love it. Car selection, also love it. Amazing.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Forza 6 as well.
To be honest,
Forza fan, so
I wonder if they did do an Xbox One version of the Batman bundle. I wonder what it would have looked like. They probably could have stuck with the same metal gray, but Call of Duty already used metal gray, so
cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all of our questions and comments for the week.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Another episode of Unscripted Access. We'll be bringing back the raid. The raid should be going up within a couple days after this, because we are recording the raid tomorrow, which is yesterday for you guys that are listening on Friday. So expect the raid. for all your PC gaming and tech nerdness. So look forward to that. Any last words from you, Anthony?
I look forward to it because we finally are going to restart our show where we can vent all of our geeky PC talk into it. We'll give it. There's so you could tell there's a lot. I feel like this episode of the Raid, there's going to be a lot that's going to happen just by how much of our PC talk spills into our other shows. So it should be pretty exciting. I have no idea how long it's going to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
It's like the Raid is going to become a new show now. Even though it's been around for a little while, it just hasn't been we just haven't filmed it. We just haven't recorded anything for it for a little while.
I agree. Alright guys, well you know where to follow us. Follow us on Twitter at TheGamerAccess. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheGamerAccess. Please be sure to follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheGamerAccess. And obviously you're listening to this, so you're probably at TheGamerAccess.com, but if you found us on iTunes, we are also on iTunes. Gamer Access, the Gamer Access, the Gamer Access. That's all you have to search for. That's what our name is on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, everything. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for your support. We will be back next week. And like I said, look for the Raid. Peace.
Bye.